Welcome. Welcome to all of you. My name is Werner Lang and I'm the Vice President of Sustainable Transformation of TUM. Welcome to TUM. I would also like to extend a very warm welcome to our President, Thomas Hofmann, to our former President, Wolfgang Herrmann, and to all of you who came from afar. I think Queensland is probably the biggest distance we have so far. So you all joined us for an endeavor which is more important than ever before. I think together with this energy I'm sensing already, we are going to have really a fantastic day. From this opening lecture to a lot of interactive formats, as you have seen in the program, to at the end, a very Bavarian end, I would say, with beer and pretzels. So there will be a lot of fun. Stay with us until the evening. It's going to be a great day. So I also would like to welcome the members of our TUM Executive Board, which is, I think, is really very important to work and collaborate together on the sustainability transformation. I also would like to explicitly welcome our students, not because of the story and the sentence you hear very often, you are the future, as we know, but I think we as TUM, we as researchers, we as teachers try to really train you, inform you, support you with regard to driving the sustainability transformation further. So really big welcome from my side also to you as students. Welcome. So we also have a lot of friends here, not only on the partners from Stanford and other universities, but also from the alumni from TUM Global. So really welcome to every one of you. And I might have forgotten certain entities of our universities, including the administration, is also really very important. So the whole community is welcome, and it's really a great pleasure to welcome you to the third Sustainability Day here at the Technical University of Munich. Today, our community really comes together around for the most important challenges, as I mentioned before, the transformation towards a sustainable future. So we had already school children here at the age of 5 to 6, so that's even kindergarten, to 7, and you should have seen their eyes just looking in such an amazing way, at TUM, as maybe their potential future university. I don't know, but they were really excited, at least as excited as I'm right now. So the challenge is clear, it's global, it's urgent, it's really deeply connected to almost every aspect of our lives, whether it's energy, whether it's mobility, whether it's health. And I'm looking at Clarissa right now. Where are you? Global health, a very important topic also. So I think it's all leading to a common approach towards education, taking really social responsibility seriously. So as we know, sustainability is definitely not a single discipline or a single project. It's a task for all of us. It requires excellent research, innovative teaching, responsible campus operations, and above all, a strong and active community. And seeing you sitting here, we had to squeeze you in here. You are already active and you are already excited. So this is exactly what this event is really about. It's really a platform where we can experience the diversity, the creativity, and the commitment we are having that already exists around our university. It is designed as a sustainability festival, a day that informs, a day that inspires, it connects, and it encourages all of us to take the next step towards awareness and especially towards action. Under the motto, "We walk the talk," TUM and its partners present sustainability as a central motto, as a central technological and societal challenge, connecting science, business, and society, and making sustainability tangible. The scale of today's program reflects this ambition. Across a wide range of formats, from workshops, discussions, and guided tours, keynote lectures. You will have the opportunity to explore key areas such as energy, built environment, entrepreneurship, and many other topics, including global engagement. I'm especially pleased that today's program includes the Global Sustainability Challenge final. So originally, and there will be more information, 3,000 students from 50 nations, and I'm probably underestimating the number and the impact this has. This is a really huge effort, and it's a really great chance to interconnect even within teams, so teams of 6 coming from, in some cases, from 6 different nations, collaborating on business ideas of the future. So this international competition brings together a really large amount of universities. This is starting this afternoon, so we are looking forward to that. I also would like to extend my welcome to all participants from the international field, enriching our day with the international perspective, like our colleagues from Stanford and also the colleagues from the Living Lab Summit. We started already yesterday celebrating the Getting Together, which was a great event already. As the Living Lab approach is really reflecting on what we are doing here at TUM and also at Unternehmertum, I think we are trying to use our university as a real-world laboratory to test really innovative ideas, whether it's green infrastructure, whether it's new technologies in water purification, and really to show what we can do with our own campus, especially here in Garching, to have a proof of concept. Very often we hear like it cannot be done, it's too expensive, it's too complicated, the technologies are not really ripe enough already to being transformed. We show that it's possible, and we take our responsibility seriously in order to show what can be done in the various fields. And we have, I think, a total of 23 partners here right now at TUM, where we're having the Living Lab Summit actually tomorrow in the SAP building. So the connection between ideas and implementation is essential. I think I stretched that already. We know that sustainability cannot really, and it must be basically brought together. Isolation is not an option, and it really depends on the connections, on the trust, on the hope we are generating, not only for ourselves, but also for our society, especially in these days. And I'm not even talking about the wars we're having right now. They're really horrible enough. But I think we really have to actually show our young people that there is hope, that there is energy. Fear is the enemy of sustainability, and to show examples which we are creating at our universities are really key. I think I stressed on the role of the universities, the special role we are having. At TUM, with our Sustainability Strategy 2030, we have contributed to this part of our mission, and we know that especially it takes people to really execute the transformation we are facing. So the Sustainability Day is about communication, it's about execution, and this is why our day is so important, and this is why your participation is really key. So let us take this day in the end to strengthen our community, to accelerate the transformation we urgently need. So I would like to express my really sincere thanks to everyone who has made this day possible, to our leadership, sitting here in the front row, to our team, sitting in the second row, somewhere over there, coming later onto stage, to our partners, to our sponsors, sitting here on this side. With all of you, this day would not have been possible. The connections we are making would not have been possible. So really big thanks to you all. And now I want to give a very special thanks to 2 of our people at our team, to Annick Müller and Daria Senft. Please come to the stage and give them a big applause. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much also from our side. As our Vice President said, collaboration is key and it needs commitment on every level. So, yeah, thank you.
On this note, special thanks to our TUM President, Thomas Hofmann. Please join us on stage.
Yeah, first of all, let me welcome all of you. It's fantastic to see the diversity in this group, from the students with the bright ideas and open mindset, all the way up to the alumni, to the industry partners. This is, I think, how we approach sustainability. If I may make a comparison to our TUM Entrepreneurship Day, which we introduced in 2011, actually, so a long time ago. We started with about 50 participants, 50 attendants, so it was very small. It was not even in a lecture hall like that. It was somewhere outside there. And then I said, it would be fantastic if in the future we would have at least 1,000 or 2,000. Now we have more than 2,500 attendees every time when it comes to our startup fair, our entrepreneurship day, and that we only in a few years exceed that when it comes to sustainability. Shows, I think, the importance of this topic and the attractiveness also for the various generations. Knowing that because this world is in a change, because this world is, at least this is how I feel it, becomes more unpredictable, much more volatile, geopolitically fractured, with all the dangers we can foresee. In particular, in those times, I think it's important not to distract from the fact that resource security, for example, becomes an increasing challenge, not just when it comes to oil, by the way. And in particular, while the acceleration of the climate crisis is massively accelerated, it's still unbroken, despite activities on many fields and places worldwide. Solving this climate crisis may seem like a daunting task. This is what I hear from many people who are not convinced that we should invest further in those technologies. Because they say this topic is so huge, you anyway will be not able to tackle it. And this is why, and I really would like to thank, now where's he gone? Werner. Werner Lang and his team, with all the community of the university behind this idea, pushes forward and shows that it's indeed possible if you activate the young generation early enough. So sustainability, I think it's in particular a spirit, it's a mindset. And on the basis of this mindset, you will turn it into real action. And if you look outside, I was really impressed just walking through the hall. More than 120 initiatives from our community. Many initiatives, workshops, and events which you will see today and tomorrow together with partners from all over the world. This is exactly what we need, because an excellent university is not striving for excellence only. I think world universities need to stand united, not only by pursuing excellence, but in particular by carrying responsibility to shape a sustainable future. So I think we all agree that sustainability needs to move way beyond lip service. It is not enough to do top research and expand the horizon of our current knowledge. It's in particular important also to develop tangible, real-world, effective solutions to tackle some of the challenges we have. And this is central to the mission of our university, the entrepreneurial university, those who make things happen, not just think and discuss about it. So in these terms, we started some years ago to build an overall strategy for the next 8 years until 2030, the TUM Sustainable Future Strategy, which is in the meanwhile also firmly anchored in the future concept, in the development concept of the entire university, which we, you have heard that, just could win for the 4th time in a row in the German Excellence Competition. And we bring together sustainability ambitions with top science, with the bright minds and the connections through the entire world to strong partners, many of those we have here today. Together, you said, we walk the talk. Here you can see it. And that's why I'm really pleased that I think just yesterday or so, our current sustainability report has been finalized. This is our 2nd report. Compared to the first one in 2024, I think we learned how to move from building the right structures within the university to take this university on this journey, and also to create the data foundation you need to show that we make improvements. So do that on facts and not just on beliefs or assumptions. And now we will take it further to implement new measures, which is what we are currently doing, to monitor the success of those and to advance our sustainable transformation. The report, it's on the website, and I hope you will show somewhere the QR code, probably later. It's okay, you can download it directly on your smartphone. Documents the progress we have made. But we are very honest, we are still not there where we would like to be. And that's why the report also acknowledges the work that lies ahead of us on our journey in various fields of action when it comes to sustainable transformation. I'll give you some examples what we have done. In research, for example, we hired just over the last 3 years 40 new professors, 40 new professors with core competences in sustainability topics. We combined expertise on unparalleled range of disciplines, in particular as a university, which has the challenge that we are dislocated, you may say, on 6 different campuses. To bring the experts together across those campuses with the Circulatum network, for example, with more than 40 scientists collaborating across schools and campuses on topics of circular economy. They just started a scientific study on new CO2 regulatory approaches, which is here under leadership also of Professor Werner. Framework conditions, mechanisms of action based on a truly holistic approach. So not just to see what comes out at the end, but to make the integration from the early selection of raw materials through material cycles, new production concepts, fuels, electricity, all the way up to effective recycling, where we have to be much better than in the past. Another example, we increased, for example, the share of open access publications in the last years from 37% in 2019 to 76% in 2025, and it goes steep upward. In education, for example, we offer today 13 bachelor and 24 master programs with a distinct sustainability competence as the core of these programs. And for all the students who are not in one of those programs, we offer plug-in modules, extra curricular plug-in modules that can be plugged in the competence profiles of the individual students. So to make them fit for the competences in the sustainability, to make them fit for the demands of the future. Over the last 3 years, more than 6,000 external, and this is still in at least nationwide unique for university, more than 6,000 external professionals and executives have been trained by our TUM Institute for Lifelong Learning specifically on sustainability competences. And you know, and we just heard it, that one of our strengths is our entrepreneurial action. And we combine entrepreneurial action with sustainability targets. The Unternehmertum, you have hopefully seen for the 3rd time in a row, now became #1 startup hub in Europe regarding the Financial Times ranking. And together with the TUM Venture Labs, which we initiated 3 years ago, and the TUM Forte Entrepreneurship Team, I think we truly built a sparkling environment where startups can grow. And to give you a number, more than 100 startups, tech startups, deep tech startups, primarily B2B, not B2C, which you find it in many other places. Deep tech startups have been founded just a year ago. And more than 30% directly target challenges we have in sustainability. And this is primarily driven by the Venture Lab Climate and Circular. And I also would like to welcome this team because they bring the competence in to combine that with the tech competence of the entrepreneurs to be sure that the technologies they are developing hit the right market. We are also transforming our campuses. And based on a comprehensive greenhouse gas inventory and the climate action plan, I would really like to thank in particular the Sustainability Board and the Office for this. We have defined clear targets and measurable goals, including a substantial reduction of energy-related emissions and a pathway to net zero emissions by 2045. We have signed very recently an energy-saving contract for this campus Garching, the largest of our locations. Garching today requires 127 gigawatt of natural gas just for heat generation. And in the future, the majority of the heat capacity, which is about 70% of it, will be derived from the unused heat of the Leibniz Computer Center, which is just some 100 meters from here. And another 30% will come from geothermal energy. And this will save us money on the one hand, 2 million per year, and reduce CO2 emissions by approximately 30,000 tons per year, only by starting with this single campus. In order to create impact in the global community, it's important to build alliances. Werner mentioned it. I think this journey will not succeed. You will not reach a target if you do things alone. That's why we need partners on site, and I'm happy that we have our industry on-campus partners here. Siemens, SAP I've seen, many supporters and donors. I've seen Linde, Airbus, and many others. Thank you for the support. Without the support, we would not be here today. And we also built then alliances to our global partners, because bringing people with different perspectives is so important. We have all the disciplines here. And the disciplines are not different from somewhere else, but the people are different. They have different mindsets, different ideas, different perspectives, and bring them together. That's the reason why we, compared to the last Sustainability Day here, are much more international today. So, for example, the Campus Straubing for Biotechnology and Sustainability has been the initiator and founding member of the Global Bioeconomy Alliance, and I welcome some of the members of this alliance here. The Global South Strategy, another element of our future concept, targets young talents, not by bringing them to Munich. We go out to them, to the Global South, to work with them on innovation projects and enable them to do innovation in their home countries, to help to lift the innovation potential of their home and own communities. Within the Eurotech Universities Alliance, for example, we have, next to research and education, a strong program where we exchange on sustainable campus development, because we can learn from each other. We can exchange best practices to be faster, and this is why alliances are needed. We deepen our collaboration with Imperial College London through the Imperial TUM Center for Health Resilience in a Changing Planet, where we would like to connect climate change aspects with health aspects and the consequences on health. And together with Stanford's Doerr School of Sustainability, we have deepened a new alliance on sustainable entrepreneurship. In this context, we just heard it, the Global Sustainability Challenge was born. We will have today, here in the final round, 40 teams from many, many countries. And we also may call it, it's the Olympic Games for students addressing issues when it comes to sustainability. And tomorrow, we will host the first Living Lab Summit with 23 international partners, and I would like to welcome all partners here, coming from the various continents together here in Munich. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, our university community is surely encouraged by the progress we made. But this is just the beginning. We know that meaningful transformation takes time, and it requires persistence, and it requires an openness to change every day again, openness to change. And it requires the willingness to take real responsibility, sometimes to go uncomfortable ways, both individually as a person, but also collectively as an entire community. My sincere thanks goes therefore to everyone who contributed to this wonderful collective initiative, this wonderful day. And particularly would like to thank my Vice President Werner Lang and your team, and the entire passion and energy and power you put into this, bringing the university forward with a lot of competence, not just with words, but with doing. Thank you for that. Big applause to you. Thanks to the team members of the Sustainability Office, of the board, the Sustainability Board, which captures a lot of competences from the different schools. As you mentioned, it's highly interdisciplinary. I would like to thank particularly the environmental department of the student representation, all the students in the student clubs. We have so many initiatives, self-driven, student-driven initiatives, which bring really things forward. You are the best supporter of change at TUM. Thank you for that. So, as probably I'm over time, I will close now. I would like to thank you. I hope that you go home this evening with a lot of new inspiration, with new ideas, with new energy, and hopefully with new long-lasting connections between institutes, countries, and nations. Thank you very much. Have fun.
So, thank you so much for these strong words and this great direction we have from our president, Hofmann. And with this in mind, we are very pleased to welcome a greeting from our TUM alumnus, Dominik Krause, and future mayor of Munich. So, let's see a video.
Dear President Hofmann, dear researchers and students of the TUM, dear guests from around the world, when reading the news today in 2026, one could almost think that sustainability is irrelevant. Topics such as climate action, sustainable urban development, biodiversity, or heaven forbid, gender equality are considered by many as unnecessary, something nice to have in good times. But times aren't that good, or worse, for some, everything connected to sustainability has become a trigger. And this is precisely why events like this one are important. This is precisely where one of the largest university events on sustainability in Europe is taking place right here at the TUM. Because the things you do, you discuss, you research on at TUM are relevant because that's the place where the brightest minds are researching and shaping the future with an impact far beyond Munich. What is created here in terms of ideas, discussions and research doesn't stay on campus, it radiates out into the city, into society and often far beyond. As an alumnus of TUM, I firmly believe that decisions in politics and business should be based on scientific findings. And this is especially true when it comes to the major issues facing the future, and sustainability is clearly one of them. The state capital of Munich has also been working for many years to advance sustainability with its first sustainability report more than a decade ago as a model municipality for education for sustainable development and with the new strategy that we adopted last fall. As a city, we want to do our part and, where possible, lead by example with ideas, concepts, and innovations. And of course, we know that we still have many unsolved challenges ahead. What you are developing as researchers has the potential to have an impact far beyond Munich, even against the trend of indifference and ignorance that we sometimes perceive at the moment. We invite all of you researchers and students, use the city as your playground, develop your ideas in the real world here with us in Munich, test them, challenge them, and bring them to life where they can make a difference. Because you have chosen the right place for your studies, I can say that as an alumnus of TUM, use this time, this environment, and this community to grow into the change makers who will shape a better future.
Thank you, Dominik Krause. Well, from Munich to the world, it's now my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Elizabeth Tolu Ojo. Please join me on the stage.
Good afternoon. Okay, I was hoping for a response, actually. So how about we try that again, okay? This is really loud. Good afternoon. Okay. Servus, did I say that right? Yes, servus. Okay. Wuhan and Habari. It's an incredible honor for me to be here today. I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity to join you here for the 2026 Sustainability Day at TUM. Now, I'm going to get straight into it. And I want you to imagine with me that the global effort for sustainability is a team gathered around a table. The kind of team that has welcomed me so warmly since yesterday. It was really lovely to be at the reception, and thank you so much for the warm welcome. Thank you for all the work in helping to prepare me to get here. I'm looking at Anik and Daria and Lara. Thank you so much. Imagine with me that it's that kind of a large table with people from all around the world. And for work on that table to succeed, The table must be balanced, right? Every leg should be equal, every seat weighted the same. But if you take a closer look at the table we're working at today for sustainability, it has a tilt. Some legs are long, reinforced by history, wealth, and global connection. And other legs are short, stunted by underfunding and underrepresentation. And I start here because the topic before me is that global challenges like sustainability need global teams. And our job this week and beyond is not just to take a seat at that table. Our job is to level the table. To understand my perspective, you should know where I come from, right? You should know a little bit about where I've started from. I'm a city girl. I was born and raised in Lagos, Nigeria. Lagos is the busiest heartbeat of the African continent. It sits in the continent's most populous nation, and that nation sits on Africa's largest oil reserve. In the early 2000s, as a microbiology undergraduate student, I became fascinated by two things. And these were my first encounter with sustainability. It didn't happen in a classroom or a conference. It was local, personal, and impossible for me to ignore. The first thing was the catastrophic waste management crisis in my home city. I saw it every day. The second was aquatic hydrocarbon degrading microbes as a potential salve to the crude oil pollution in the Niger Delta. You may know the Niger Delta. It is a land and people that Ken Sarua lost his life for in the 1990s, trying to protect. I didn't yet have the fancy vocabulary of sustainability at the time, but I was already grappling with the central question. How do we meet today's needs without stealing from tomorrow? What I eventually understood, a fact that has shaped my career to date, is that sustainability at its core is a people problem. That understanding that sustainability is fundamentally a people problem is what took me from Lagos to Yale, from the field to Kigali, Rwanda. And it is the lens through which I want to speak to you today. I want to name three gaps that I believe are quietly undermining our collective work on sustainability. Now, don't get me wrong, these are not all the gaps. The list is long. But there are many people in this room who are better placed than I am to speak to the dimensions I haven't lived. So I will speak about the ones that I have lived, the gaps that I have seen consistently across context, and these are gaps I know we have the power to continue closing. The first gap is the knowledge gap. So sustainability science is shaped and fueled by research. Research is something most of you in this room are very familiar with. Research requires a long leg. It requires funding, infrastructure, and strong institutional support. Now, historically, the resources you need for research have been concentrated in a relatively small number of institutions, primarily in Europe, North America, and parts of Asia. And that's confirmed by the fact that approximately 84% of published research still originates from these places. Now, many of you work hard every day, and the proof is right here before us in the level of connectivity and internationality that is here for this Sustainability Day and tomorrow's summit. You source data from the Global South. You build field partnerships, and that effort is real. That effort is important. And it has enabled the variety of projects, the types that we will hear about in the final of the Global Sustainability Challenge today. But the next level up is co-authorship, more co-authorship. Most of us know that there is a difference between research that is conducted about a region and research that is conducted with scientists who live and work in that place. When a researcher is a local co-author, he shapes the questions, not just the answers. Her expertise stays in the soil long after the grant has ended, and they become a generation that doesn't need validation to be heard. International co-authored research is 52% more impactful than siloed work. So what we're talking about here is not just about equity. This is about better, more efficient science. And we've seen this model work at the African Leadership University's School of Wildlife Conservation. I serve as the Dean of ALU in Rwanda. And SOWC in 2020 launched a cross-continental research into the wildlife economy, locally led, research across 18 countries that has now informed national policy in multiple African countries. That is efficient research, research that has real impact on the ground. The second gap is the power gap. Global sustainability agendas are often shaped in international fora. These are proceedings that are conducted primarily in French and in English, and significantly influenced by nations with veto power. The truth is, we do see more diverse faces in those international forums, but presence is not the same thing as power. While I was at Yale, a classmate of mine who works with small island nations at climate negotiations shared with me that these nations whose very existence, we're talking their coastlines, their fresh water, their homes are threatened by every millimeter of sea level rise. So these are the people who have the most to lose. But you see, for them to participate meaningfully in climate negotiations, drafting position papers, responding to proposals, commissioning counter-analysis in real time, you literally need a small army of researchers, analysts, lawyers, and translators. That is no small feat. But you see, without initiatives like the Alliance for Small Island Nations, many of these nations simply do not have the manpower. And it's not for a lack of expertise or commitment. It is because of decades of underinvestment, which means they're negotiating literally with a hand tied behind their back. Without that kind of support, they're at the table. But the table is tilted so badly against them, they can barely keep their notes and laptops from sliding off the table. That's the power gap. The third gap is the culture gap. And for this one, allow me to share another image. I'm steeped in African oral traditions that are very visual, so I'm a visual learner. Imagine I invite 7 people, one from each continent, and I want to honor their culture. So I serve a dish that is locally relevant to each person. Making sense, right? But at what height do I set the table? The Japanese chabudai sits about 30 centimeters off the ground. The Western dining table is 75 centimeters off the ground. An Ethiopian coffee ceremony happens on the floor, around a small, low shared table. If I pick one height, I have already decided whose culture is the default. Now, we don't typically make these choices out of malice. It's a matter of habit. We use our calendar, we use our language, our agenda format, our standard way of doing things. We pick one table height simply because it is the most convenient or the most practical thing to do, right? Now, to be clear, a truly global team is not about walking on eggshells. I'm not saying you should be anxious in your global teams. I'm asking you to be intentional. Intentionality that requires curiosity. It is developing the habit of asking, before you set the table, what do the people I have invited here need to do their best work? I've said a lot of things already, so let me be clear about what I am not saying. This is not a call for charity. It is not about tokenism, and it is not about lowering standards. It is actually the opposite. It's a call for excellence, a call for awareness, followed by intentional action at individual and institutional levels. And we have models to prove that it can work. This event itself, and tomorrow's summit, 24 universities, well over 50 nations, and 24 cross-continental initiatives is proof of what convening power looks like. At ALU, diversity isn't just one of our 6 core values. We found that it is a strategic advantage for our students and their ventures. 80% of our student ventures are cross-cultural by design. When you're on a campus with students from 47 nations, you're bound to start a venture with somebody from a very different country. And what we found is that that cross-cultural design enables them to build and scale across markets quickly, often starting with the home nations of their co-founders. Another example is the African Health Collaborative. It's a collaborative of 8 African universities, including the African Leadership University, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, one of your partners, and the University of Cape Town, alongside the University of Toronto in Canada. The collaborative strategically strengthens health systems by working across traditional silos that are disparate: workforce development, entrepreneurship, and ecosystem development to build each institution through co-creation, focusing on venture development from a non-clinical perspective. Programs like these create a model of what is possible, and they point towards what intentional action at scale can accomplish. Now, building these kinds of partnerships is one side of the equation. The other side is what happens once people get inside your organizations. And at this point, I'm going to label the green ceiling. Most of you are probably familiar with it. Environmental organizations lag behind broader society in geographic and racial diversity, particularly at senior levels. Entry levels are increasingly diverse, but the middle of the career ladder is leaking. Talented people from underrepresented backgrounds enter, and then poof, they disappear. It's not because they're not capable. It's because they land in cultures that cannot hold them. Here as well, there are models that work, and I know this personally. I spent 2 years in the conservation management training program at the African Wildlife Foundation in Kenya. And from day one, we were not developed as isolated individuals. We were built as a cohort, a family, learning together, accountable to each other from the very first day. We had sponsors, not just mentors, people who opened doors, they made calls, and they advocated for us in rooms that we were not yet in. 10 years later, 80% of that cohort is in senior or middle-level leadership in conservation on the African continent. So for those of you building organizations and talent pipelines, if you want a rose to grow, you don't just water the single flower. You tend the entire greenhouse and its rose bushes. Don't focus on one person. Think about it as a cohort. Above talent pipelines is a lever that we hardly ever touch. It's the board. Boards shape strategy. They approve senior leadership hires. They determine what gets prioritized by each organization. But you see, when a board remains homogeneous, the system typically reproduces itself. And it's not through malice. It's pattern matching. It's simple human behavior. Breaking that cycle means that you have to actively diversify governance. You rethink how we define experience, because often exceptional leaders are screened out by criteria that is so narrowly drawn. It excludes people who have the actual transferable skills we need for complex global problems. As I close, I'll point this out. For global sustainability efforts to be effective, they must increasingly and meaningfully include African nations. And here is why. Economic growth, historically and currently, is correlated with increased resource extraction, environmental degradation, and rising inequality. As home to half of the world's fastest growing economies, the youngest population on the planet, and between 15 to 20% of our global diversity, African economies are growing. If growth on that continent over the next 10 years follows the exact same extractive model of previous centuries, and sustainability remains something that is designed to scale elsewhere, our global progress on sustainability will stall. But if African scientists work alongside global scientists to shape the models, backed by African investors, alongside African leaders setting the global agenda, we get a balanced table. Better outcomes, faster progress. At this point, diversity is not a concession, it is the strategy. I know that you're going to leave this event inspired, but inspiration has a half-life. Action does not. So I want to leave you with a few ideas for Monday morning. I like action. Let's not just talk. So if you're a researcher or an academic, I want you to look at your last 5 publications. Who are your co-authors and where are they based? If the geography of your work is not reflected in the geography of the authors, there you have an opportunity to close a gap. Reach out to an institution in the region before you design the project. If you're a student or an early career professional, seek a cohort, not just a mentor. Seek a sponsor. Build with people who are navigating the same terrain with you across different geographies. Because the network you construct now is the network that you will carry and that will carry you for the next 20 years. You have to be intentional. And if you're an organizational or institutional leader, I charge you to audit 1 people process this month. A hiring shortlist, a research grant, a board nomination, and ask yourself which of these gaps, the knowledge gap, the culture gap, or the power gap, are being reinforced. And then change 1 thing, just 1. Open 1 door, add 1 question to the standard brief. The diversity in this room is itself a statement. We already know that the future of sustainability will be built by many brilliant minds, not a few. The question is whether we will build the conditions for all of them to contribute fully. The table is uneven. We all can see the tilt. Let's level it together. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we all agree that this was really inspiring. So thank you so much, Elizabeth, for your advice, your expertise, and your thoughts on sustainability. And now we have a panel. I know we're a little bit tight with the time, but we have a panel prepared for the TUM Sustainable Transformation. So I welcome Etienne on the stage and let you know more about it.
Yeah, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Annick, for announcing me. My name is Etienne. I'm part of the environmental department of the student representation, and I will be your moderator today. After this interesting speech from Elizabeth, where she talked about the global challenges and the global teams that it requires, let's take now back a look to our university. How can TUM be part of this of the solution of these challenges? So the question we want to answer today, it's so sad that so many are leaving. That will be an interesting panel discussion. Come back. So the question we want to answer today is, how far have we come so far? What is still left? I think there is a lot of left to do for a sustainable transformation here at TUM. And what is left? And to answer this, I want to introduce you to the panel. So dear panelists, after one another, or you come now, please come. I begin to my left. Yes, does everyone has water? Yes. I begin to my left, Jasmin Fischer. She's also part of the environmental department. She's a student of biochemistry, one of 2 student representatives in the sustainability board, and part of the environmental department. Then, next to her, Dr. Georg Röder. He recently joined us at TUM as the new head of the sustainability office, also, of course, part of the sustainability board. And as the new head of the sustainability office, he's in charge to bringing the sustainable future strategy into action. Then to my right, Professor Werner, You already know him. He's the Vice President for Sustainable Transformation here at TUM, and also holds the chair of Energy Efficient and Sustainable Planning and Building, and he's the chairman of the Sustainability Board and the Task Force for Sustainable Campus Development. And lastly, Professor Clarissa Prazeres da Costa. There's a lot to say here. She's a professor for infection and immunity and global health with a research focus on poverty-related health. She's the SDG 3 representative of the TUM School of Management of Medicine and Health, a founder and director of the Center for Global Health at the TUM School of Medicine, founder and board member of the German Alliance of Global Health Research, founded by the Federal Ministry for Space, Technology and Research. So thank you for joining. Let's take maybe first, before we get into the details, let's take a look at the bigger picture. So Werner, I think President Hofmann and also you already talked a little bit about this, but maybe you can elaborate on that. What is the special responsibility TUM has when it comes to sustainability, and how large can the contribution of a university actually be?
Well, I think universities in general are incredible places. I think we're proud of our own university being even an amazing place where we teach young generations to use their lives to contribute to what they believe in. That's one thing. Our scientists, on the other hand, the research we are doing is really focusing on the challenges we are having. So we have already two very important elements: knowing what is going on the one hand and having the solutions, and basically teaching our students to implement them and really drive their own lives in that direction. So that's the two major things we are having. But then there's also entrepreneurship to really support lives, to develop business models, to use sustainability as a driver for even economic growth, future-oriented economic growth. And we also have a campus, like we mentioned before, where we can demonstrate that. So these three things are already essential for the transformation. And then we have global governance structures in order to push that further, and we communicate that. So we have everything which takes actually to push for the transformation, making reality, and this ability becomes a responsibility.
Yeah, I think some very important points. And I guess myself as a student and Jasmin, what affects us the most now is, of course, the teaching part. Universities are, of course, in many aspects part of the sustainable transformation, but educating the future generation of engineers, of scientists, of decision makers, they will shape the future. So let's talk about sustainability in teaching. Maybe Jasmin, you as a representative of the students, how would you like to see sustainability integrated into the study programs, and why does it matter to you?
Well, first of all, I think we're in this room all know why sustainability is important. So this is the defining challenge of our future, and it is a cross-cutting topic. So whether you study engineering or medicine or management, sustainability impacts your field. And as we heard before, we have a global responsibility. So from a leading university like TUM, we students expect to be equipped to solve these crises in the future. That's the why. And now the how. Here at TUM, I would say there are some additional offers already that are great starting points, like the project weeks or the plug-in modules. There could be more plug-in modules focusing about sustainability, but it is a good starting point. The problem there is that the students don't always get recognition for that. So interested students don't get credits for their interests and efforts on sustainability. That has to be changed. And even more important, I would say, there's the integration of sustainability in every study program. So we as students, as well as the leadership of the TUM within the Sustainable Future Strategy, we have the same goal. We all want that the sustainability is integrated in every curriculum. So we demand TUM to take on action on that and get started, for instance, by integrating the topic in QM processes, or like providing help and guidance for the lecturers so they can learn how they can teach us sustainability in every field. Yeah, I would say that are the next steps.
Perfect. And to also hear of the other side, Clarissa, you as a professor, how do you follow through on that vision that Jasmin just told us? What does a meaningful integration looks like for you? And maybe also some examples from your experience.
Yeah, thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me here to this discussion. So I think, first of all, there will not be one size fits all, right? So, I mean, we see here 17 SDGs, 169 targets. That means we need a lot of different kinds of action, right? So, but I think you can start as a professor with a willingness to also fail, basically, to try out certain things. You can open your courses, for example, to students also from other schools. This is what we did last year. You can start with, starting to transform your course into simply using English language, which is not so common in our school, for example. You can start collaborating with other schools, professors from other schools, bachelor thesis, master thesis. So that's what we did, basically, started to do this. But like Jasmin already mentioned, these are small steps that everyone can take. It takes willingness to fail, but as a professor or researcher, you can also address policymakers. So you mentioned the new platform that we have now at the German Ministry of Education and Research, which started in 2019 when researchers in the field of global health all came to Berlin and really advocated for research funding, for true interdisciplinary research funding. Because this is also what we lack, right? We don't have access to true interdisciplinary research funding. And this platform now exists, it's called GLORA. And we have now also just implemented the first teaching academy, actually, so for postgraduate students, but we're trying to open it also for graduate students. So I think this is what you can do as an individual, right? Thank you.
Yeah, I think some important points, but to have it on an education level is of course good, but also having sustainability implemented throughout all the structures is of course another very important topic. We have a sustainable future strategy, and implementing it is of course a very difficult and also a crucial topic here. Georg, in your new role as the head of the Sustainability Office, what is your vision how TUM actually implements its sustainability future practices, strategy, and what structures and also maybe accountabilities need to be in place to make it real?
Okay, before I draw a picture of my own vision, I think I first of all like to cherish what's already been accomplished. I mean, when by our executive leadership board, by my predecessors, by Werner, you especially also as VP Sustainable Transformation. I mean, imagine in 2022 this strategy was put into action with 106 measures. And today, 2026, 4 years later, 53 of these measures have been put into action. They're either completed, they're up and running, or they have been initiated by my team to get going. And I think we're at halftime now because we want to reach our goal of 80% reduction in CO2 emissions by 2030. And we have achieved half of our measures, so I think we are right on track. And I really have to say the entire team of the Sustainability Office is super motivated to also tackle the other 53 measures that are left. But now to give you an idea of the vision that I have, and as you said, the Sustainability Office is in charge of operationalizing the strategy. I think, first of all, we got to make sure that we achieve our goal, 80% reduction of CO2 emissions by 2030. Secondly, I think we have to continue being the role model, the societal role model we have to be as one of the leading universities of the world. And I think a day like today, what we've set up here really shows that we take this responsibility serious. And third, I think, and that's really important to me, talking also to students, and you've just said it, I think you've just touched upon it also, I think we have to make sure that we are the university all those bright and talented students that we have here deserve, right? We have to have the campuses that are livable, that are green, that are sustainable, where you guys move. We have to make sure that sustainability is woven into the study programs, you've just touched upon it, to make sure that they go out and amplify our message. And concretely speaking, this means that we really foster a culture of sustainability within TUM. And we have everything set up on a central level. We have a vice president, we have a sustainability board, we have a sustainability office, we have Umweltreferate. But we need it in the schools as well. We need to make sure that we have on school executive level the decision-making processes that all the decisions we take on a central level can be amplified within the schools and can be operationalized there. And also, and that's why I think it's a shame that so many people left this room before we started this conversation, I think it's really you as the students, the ones that are left, that you take action, that you join the student clubs, that you join our green offices, that you see what's going on campus and what you can do and how you can engage, because it's also your responsibility. You're a part of TUM, we're part of TUM, we try to make it happen. We give a lot of offers to everyone and we hope you join in on the journey.
Thank you. So now we've also heard about the strategic and structural level, but there's also, of course, the operational side in all of this. President Hofmann talked about the upcoming changes here at the Garching campus, that it will be powered by renewable energy by 2028, which is a significant commitment. But there are more campuses of TUM, and mobility, energy, and the buildings, they have the highest share of our emissions here at the university. So the question is maybe to you, Werner, just in general now, what is the vision to also implement all of this on the operational level to reduce our emissions?
I think this is, almost a key question you're asking there. I think everything is in place. We have a great strategy, we have a great governance structure, we have Thomas, really you as one who is driving all of this, so we can really count on you and getting your support. What is missing right now is getting away from it's them, and then it's us. So there's still these borders, these boundaries. So if with regard to operations, it's really key that it's not operations and leave us alone, do your research and let me go my way. So we have that still. And I think that's also true for other fields. So it's not only this gap we have with operations, we have that also with schools, like you mentioned, Georg. And so I think we try our best to do great work, but we cannot do this if it's not really integrated in the DNA of everyone. We are 68,000 people. Imagine that, with the administration, everyone there. And my dream is really to have 62, 68,000 agents of change, right? It's not just the board and whatever we have, it's really everyone. And there's an incredible energy there and an opportunity there. And that's actually my hope and my energy I want to put in to break down this barriers we have in the thinking of them, and that's the gap. So that's something we have to really take care of as a next step, and then we are going to be successful. There's no question about that.
Yeah. I think a very interesting vision here, but maybe to get a bit more concrete, Georg, I also said that in the beginning, you are here to take action for the sustainable future strategy. What are the next big projects apart from the campus Garching to reduce emissions in all of these areas?
Yeah, maybe just to give you a very, very quick glimpse of where we are at the moment, right? If you look at our energy mix at TUM, 46% is renewable, right? This is a figure that has increased by 11 percentage points for the last 2 years. At the same time, we've reduced greenhouse gas emissions by 20% since 2021. So actually, I think we have accomplished quite a bit. We are quite good, but obviously there's also room for growth. And now touching upon your question, what are further actions we want to take? I think one of the major, and it's really a huge accomplishment, President Hofmann has already touched upon it, the energy saving contract. I think that's a huge thing that's going to happen. It's going to make a huge impact here at the campus in Garching. But we're also trying at the Sustainability Office to, we are implementing a lot of different projects at the same time to save small, also at small stages. So for instance, we're currently working on a TUM travel policy. Business travel from the staff of TUM makes up for 17% of our scope 3 emissions and more than 10% of our overall emissions. So that's actually quite a big chunk of emissions just caused by our staff traveling by airplane and so forth. So we want to incentivize our people, we want to incentivize our staff to really choose modes of green travel, choose modes of more sustainable travel. Or also, we're currently working, and it's really particularly nice, together with you, Clarissa, and your department at MIH, on a green lab project. So we want to get to know, or we're currently researching together with Clarissa's team on how to make laboratory work more sustainable. And we're structuring it, and we're putting it together, this information, and now actually starting today with a freezer challenge. And everyone here who happens to work in a laboratory, we want to cordially invite to join us at the Sustainability Office stand. It's outside to kick off with us together the freezer challenge. You can participate as a laboratory, and you can win a distinct prize. I don't know what, but I think it's going to be very cool. Yeah, those are the kind of, we want to engage our students. We have the green offices also, and we want to engage the entire community and work on different aspects of operationalizing our sustainability strategy.
Okay. I think some interesting projects coming up. And speaking of community, as you just ended, we've heard a lot the word community throughout all the speeches today. And then TUM, of course, also is doing a lot of research. And I think these are both very important pillars when it comes to the sustainable transformation. And a concept in that case, and you already briefly touched on that during your introduction speak, Werner, is the living lab. Maybe, so the campus itself turns also itself into a testing ground. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit on that, and how far along has TUM already come with the campus as a living lab?
I think the latest thing we did was it seems to be a low-hanging fruit to extract what you just said, Thomas, before, to take the excess heat we get from a server plant, right? So up to now it's separate. There's a server plant run completely independent, and the heat is just cooled away by water we get from the Alps, right? What a waste. And by this simple thing, by saying, okay, we do it in a different way, we built even a third server plant by Thomas Herzog here in this space. We are connecting these 3 units to our heating system. It's really easy, it just makes sense. It's not easy with regard to, let's say, there's a lot of work needed. You have to open the ground, you have to develop a new pipe system, a new supply system. But since you look at it in a life cycle approach, you see that you save, like Thomas mentioned before, a lot of money. So it's actually a business model, and it's created by just people talking to each other. So the one who's running the server plant is talking to the administration and operations, and all of a sudden we have a contract, and it has been a hard job to get that through. It took us almost 2 years to get the legal sides and so on going, but there were people who were committed because of sustainability, but also because of the economics. And that's just one example, and I end here. And there's a lot of these things by just people, first of all, having the mindset that we have to get it done. It's just not a question of not doing it, right? It makes sense. And I think in all cases, if you look at it in a holistic way, it's actually economically not only feasible, but it's actually really very viable as a business model. And this is where we have to go.
Yeah. Looking at the time, let's come to our closing. I think we talked about a lot of topics today, from teaching to infrastructure to research and community. For the closing, I would like to know from you only one sentence, maybe 2. Imagine it's 2030, our sustainable future strategy by then is to be implemented. What needs to have happened that you feel, and looking back now to 2026, that TUM truly drove its sustainable transformation? Maybe, Jasmin, you can begin.
Yeah, okay. For me, the real test is simple. So we have to look that sustainability becomes non-negotiable, that it's not a special part, a special project, additional and isolated from the rest, but it's really integrated in every part of the university, like for new building projects or hiring decisions, and as well the curricula. So I would say this is the responsibility of the university and the leadership, but we students also have a role in there, so we can count or hold the university accountable for their actions, and we can drive the change by our own initiatives. So to all students that are left here, I can really encourage you today to use this day to visit us as the environmental department. We always welcome new people, and also explore the student initiatives that are here today. They are really inspiring, and join a project, become the change yourself. So yeah, that I would say. Yeah, thank you. And now one sentence. I think if by 2030 we reach that no one at TUM can ignore sustainability anymore, then the transformation was real.
Yeah, I think I want to keep it really short, and I think I can just agree. I mean, in the end of the day, it's really about fostering this culture of sustainability here at TUM, and we at the Sustainability Office, we promise to work on this every day to integrate it in our decision-making process, as you have said, and yeah, just foster this culture, making it part of our culture here.
Clarissa?
There's not so much left for me to say, I guess, but after yesterday's evening Living Lab Summit launch and talking to many of you here in the room, I was thinking about, we were discussing what is actually really a driving force for sustainability, and one of the topics we always came up with is interdisciplinarity. So I think TUM needs to really continue to build these kind of structures that we have already now sort of in place, like the sustainability board, the office, etc., the green offices, and in our field, for example, also the Center for Global Health. So really continue, and we really, also this global perspective, I think this is something we need to drive forward. Yeah.
I think what I would see as the most important element of us as a TUM community is to really understand that sustainability at its core, it's the only chance we have. That's one thing. And the other one is that failure is not an option. Thank you.
Thank you. Then, thank you for joining us today. Please enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.